I also want So just welcome everyone. So hopefully everyone can see my screen now. Just welcome to the Start U of G course selection for the Bachelor of Science. We're super excited to have you here today. My name is Ian Carney. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the coordinator of the Peer Helper Program, and just here to help guide things along today. So just as a reminder, this is the session for the Bachelor of Science. If you're not in the Bachelor of Science, don't worry. You can hop out of the session and you can check on the start guide for the session that best matches your degree. But this is just for students in the Bachelor of Science. We'll be using the Q&A today to post important links. So we'll put the links to the different schedules in the Q&A right now, so you have access to them if you need them. So for today's agenda, what we'll be going over is a land acknowledgement, some common terms and course selections, the registration guide for new students. We'll be chatting about an overview of how to use WebAdvisor. We have two amazing academic advisors here, and they'll be talking about all these important pieces, including academic advising at U of G. Then we'll chat about course selection for transfer students, international student reminder, and then we'll have a session for the Q&As. As I mentioned earlier, if you do have a question, you can just pop it in the Q&A section, and we'll do our best to answer it. So I just want to get started by acknowledging that the University of Guelph resides on the traditional lands of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and the treaty lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We recognize that today this gathering place is home for many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, and acknowledging them reminds us of our relationship to this land where we all learn and grow. We definitely recommend that you stop by the U of G's land acknowledgement webpage, which my colleague Sadia is going to drop into the Q&A right now, just to get a sense of what the land is and where you'll be studying in the coming year. As I mentioned, my name is Ian. I use he, him pronouns. I'm the coordinator of the Peer Helper Program. I'm also part of our student experience team, and I work really closely with our START team to help get you set to come to campus, get you to transition into U of G, and really support you with your first year. And I'm going to let my colleague Sadia introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sadia Sheikh. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm one of the START orientation facilitators for this year. So I'm part of the orientation team, and I'll help run events over the summer to get you ready for fall. And I can't wait to see you all at orientation week.
Thanks, Sadia. And Sadia is going to be dropping in links as we go through. So sometimes we'll reference a website, and you'll be like, oh, how do I get to that? We'll pop the link in the Q&A section so you'll have access to that. And now I'm going to introduce maybe the two most important people in this call. That was supposed to switch up. There we go. So here are Brinley and Jessica.
Thanks, Ian. So my name is Brenly DeFranco. I use she, her pronouns. I am the senior academic advisor in what we call the Summerlee Academic Advising Hub. So I'm located in the Summerlee Science Complex, which is where you'll spend a good amount of time throughout your degree here. I'm a fellow alumni, fellow Griffin, and I'm also joined by Jessica Nida. She is an academic advisor and program specialist. So we're going to take you through a little bit of information today. Academic advisors are here to help you through your academic journey. So you can think of us similar to a guidance counselor in high school. I like to think we're your academic GPS. So we'll help point you in the right direction to help you understand things like university policies and procedures and what your role is and what your rights are. We also help with course registration and course planning, and we want to make sure that you're working towards your degree requirements and making sure you have all the credits you need to graduate. So you can find us in Summerlee. You can stop by our office anytime to book a meeting with us, or you can email bscweb@uoguelph.ca, and then our front desk will connect you with an academic advisor. On our next slide, we have just some pictures of some other folks in our office. So you might meet with any of these other advisors. We have Erin, Sam, Kelly, Deanna, Venetia, and Brianna is at our front desk. So any of them might also help you during your journey here. Other types of academic advising at the University of Guelph. So we're academic advisors. There's also faculty advisors. So faculty advisors will give you more specifics on your discipline. So if you want to talk about kind of what is specifically happening in courses, and I want to do this when I graduate, how can these restricted electives work into that? Or what's it like in the field of this? They can help you with those discipline-specific questions. And academic advisors can help you more with your sequencing. So am I taking the right classes? When is that class offered? I'm having a challenge with my schedule, those types of things. What to do before connecting with us is always check out our website. We have a bunch of information on our Bachelor of Science academic advising website. Everything from approved electives to your schedule of studies, to things for deferred exams if you get sick and miss an exam, anything like that. So check out our website first, but definitely contact us and we can book a meeting if needed. And then your faculty advisor is specific to usually your major. There's also faculty advisors for minors if you choose to declare a minor. So different specializations is what they'll help with. And then I'm going to pass it off to Jess for some course selection tips.
Hello, thanks, Brenly. So excited to welcome you to Guelph in the fall and for you to join the Griffin family. Thanks for joining us today. I'm going to go over some helpful tips for course selection. You will be getting emails from the registrar's office shortly. Course selection for students who have 0 credits complete, which would be most people on the call today, will begin on Friday, July 10th, promptly at 1 p.m. If you have any transfer credits or an IB credit, you might have 0.5 credits already complete towards your degree. If you have 0.25 credits or more, and we'll get more into what all of that means later in the presentation, you might be eligible to start your course selection on Wednesday, July 8th at 1 p.m. So any transfer credits or an IB credit could allow you to register for courses a couple of days earlier. The majority of first-year students in the Bachelor of Science program will register for courses on Friday, July 10th at 1 p.m. So some helpful tips for course selection. We really encourage you to plan ahead. You will be able to log into WebAdvisor to view available courses and the sections for each of those courses, and then plan a schedule that works for you. Your goal is just to create a conflict-free schedule with the 5 courses you need for both fall and winter. Course selection does require some flexibility. When you're creating that conflict-free schedule, you'll pick your ideal section, but we also encourage you to have maybe 2 or 3 other sections that work with your schedule in case that first section that was the priority for you fills up before you can register. We don't recommend that you wait for an ideal section to open up. We'd like you to register for whatever section works with your schedule that can get you enrolled in all 5 as soon as possible. We do encourage you to be up, ready, and logged on right for 1 p.m. and that you've used the WebAdvisor planning tool to preload the courses and the sections that you're hoping to register for before that 1 p.m. window opens. You may not get into all 5 courses in one swoop, and that's okay. Course selection runs from that July 10th for first years right till September. You might just need to be patient, check back to WebAdvisor. An example here might be there's a first year elective you're really, really excited to take, but that class is still restricted for the students that require it as part of their degree program. Once restrictions are lifted, if there's space available, you can register in the class then. We do encourage you put something in its place until that class becomes available that you're really excited to take too, just in case, again, that first choice doesn't become available, you're still enrolled in 5. We leverage waitlists at the University of Guelph. So essentially what that means is if a required course or any course is full or a section of a course is full, you can add yourself to a wait list. Being on a wait list does not guarantee access to the course. And that's why we encourage you to register in any course that has space available, not just that first section that you've picked as the priority. We just want you to be in 5 classes in a conflict-free schedule. A wait list is just per section. We'll go through this in detail a little bit later on. We want you to scroll all the way down, look at all of the sections, and pick any one that works for you. Only add yourself to that wait list if really there's nothing available that can create a conflict-free schedule for you. The last thing I want to share, helpful tips for course selection, make sure you read the emails that come from the registrar's office in full. They are lengthy, but they contain a lot of really important information that'll help you be prepared and ready to go for July 10th. Okay, and on the next slide here, just some common terms in course selection that you might want to know coming into that July 10th period. A course selection window refers to your specific course selection period within the greater course selection timeline, which runs from July to September. So again, your course selection window, if you're new to Guelph, have 0 credits complete, is July 10th at 1 p.m. We design our courses in credits. Most courses are worth 0.5 credits. All of the courses in first year will be 0.5 credits. In the future, you might encounter, depending on your major, courses that are 0.25, 0.75, or 1 credit. And that can kind of change how you plan your degree in upper years. For what you need to know coming into this course selection period, each course is typically 0.5 credits. And you'll register for 2.5 credits in fall, 2.5 credits in winter, as per the registration guide you would have already received. Part-time students, that refers to anybody that's in less than 1.5 credits. A full-time student is anybody who's enrolled in 1.5 or more credits. That could change if you're registered with Student Accessibility Services. Sometimes they approve part-time studies as an accommodation. You may still be considered a full-time student depending on that accommodation agreement with Student Accessibility Services. The last common term you'll want to know about is electives, and this can vary depending on your degree program. You'll notice in the registration guide, it'll say 0.5 elective or 0.5 LibEd elective. In the helpful links at the end of the presentation, we've connected you to our website where it breaks down what's an elective, what are the different types of electives, and what you should register for at that time when you're picking your courses. Okay. Next, other common terms for course selection. The undergraduate calendar includes all of the policies and procedures for students, and it also will link you to your schedule of studies, which outlines which courses to take in every year from 1 to 4 or 5 if you're in co-op for your degree program. Your academic calendar is the 2026-2027 calendar. Again, we'll link that to you at the end of the presentation today. You also want to take a look at the schedule of dates. This is a listing of all the important timelines and dates organized by semester. This will include things like what's the last day to drop classes, when is reading week, if there's a holiday and classes are rescheduled, what day is in effect for that rescheduled day. So all the really important days you'll need to know as an incoming Guelph student. And lastly, I'm sure you've heard lots about WebAdvisor and reading through our materials we've sent along so far, but it's the system that we use for students to register in courses. It also allows you to view your progress within your degree program, check your tuition bill, apply for graduation, kind of a one-stop hub for everything you'll need as a student here at Guelph. And we'll show you some snippets of what that might look like on the back end as we go through the presentation today.
Thanks, Jess. So now we're going to jump into more of the nitty-gritty of what courses you will be taking. One important website that everyone should read before selecting your courses is the new student registration guide. So this will outline exactly which courses you should be taking depending on your major within Bachelor of Science. And I'm going to just show you some of the common science ones. So starting with biology, perfect. So most students are taking at least one biology course in the fall. Some are taking 2 in the fall, and then usually you're taking 1 or 2 in the winter. Our main biology courses are biology 1070, 1080, and 1090. So you'll probably hear those terms or those numbers a lot. There is one difference for our animal biology students. You are in biology 1050 in the fall. So that's just slightly different. And those students are not in 1070 or 1080. The majority of other students are in at least 2 biology courses. Some are in 3. So this is just a screenshot, a sample from the new student registration guide showing all those different majors. We do have them in acronyms, so soon you'll get used to whether you're an ABio student, if you're in animal biology, biome, if you're in biomedical, all of this is in the new student guide as well. It's just kind of the shorter term for your major. So that's just a sample showing you what courses you would be taking for specifically the biology. If we go to the next slide, we'll also show you chemistry. So in chemistry, all of our students are taking Chem 1040 and Chem 1050. So these are our general chemistry 1 and 2 courses. For students that do not have a grade 12 chemistry, you should be registering in Chem 1060. That's our introductory chemistry course before you're going to do Chem 1040. If you have any questions about that, you definitely can reach out to our office and we can help you with that. But most of our students, if you did take chemistry in grade 12, you're going to be doing Chem 1040 in the fall and then Chem 1050 in the winter. The key with chemistry is that there's a lot of sections. So in WebAdvisor, you'll see the course code. It'll be Chem and then an asterisk 1040. There will then be another asterisk and 4 more letters or numbers. Those indicate the lecture section and the lab section. For chemistry specifically, there are labs with 20-ish students in each of them. So we have over 100 different sections. It's really important to scroll through to see all the different section options. A common question we get in our office is, I put myself on a wait list, but nothing has moved. I'm on the wait list for section 0101, and that's one of over 100. And sometimes students will just choose that one because it's the first one on the screen, but there may be many other sections that still have space. They could even be at very similar times to the section you're waiting on. You have to either be registered or on a wait list. You can't do both. So you can't put yourself in one section and then say, I'll just put myself on a wait list for another one. You have to kind of decide there. With chemistry, it's always better. Put yourself in an open section that will give you a conflict-free schedule. So that's our most common thing. People say, I can only see 6 sections. They're on the main page. You have to just use the little arrow to scroll over and see all those sections. There's a lot of different options and definitely one will work with your schedule. We go to the next page. We'll go into our next one. So physics is another course you'll be taking. All BSc students are required to complete 1 credit of physics. Like Jess mentioned, most of our courses are half credit. So 1 credit means you're going to do 1 of them in the fall, 1 of them in the winter. If you do not have grade 12 physics, you're going to take a slightly different combination of those courses. In semester 1 in the fall, you will do Phys 1300. That's sort of like our bridge course between high school and university physics. And then in semester 2 in the winter, you will do Physics 1080. You are never going to do Physics 1070, okay? So if you didn't take it in high school, you'll do 1300, 1080. If you did take it in grade 12, you're going to do 1080 and then Physics 1070. All of this is outlined in the new student guide. It's also in the revised schedule of studies for students that are following that revised schedule if you don't have your grade 12 physics. For math, all of our students are required to take at least 1 mathematical science course in first year. Some majors have more than 1, so just make sure you're following the new student guide based on that to see which one is correct for you. If we could just hop to the next slide. And I'm going to pass it over to Jess.
So this is what WebAdvisor could look like for you when you're in the Progress tab when you log in. Right now, this reflects a student who's progressed through their degree. They have a lot of credits complete. It won't all show up green when you log on. That's okay. As you start to complete courses, those will change to completed. You'll see the Progress tab shift from red to yellow to green. That's all normal. This is kind of a one-stop shop for everything you need to know about your degree. So it'll tell you what your cumulative average is, the degree program, what your major is. If you decide to pursue a minor, that will be reflected here too. It'll tell you your calendar year, which is the schedule of studies you should be following year after year. And again, it'll note any important requirements for your degree and mark when they're complete and highlight what's remaining. So you can use this tool to see what you have left when you're doing your planning for upper years. And when you're planning for this year, you'll use the scheduler part of WebAdvisor to plan out those courses to then register for your courses when your window opens on July 10th. Next, we're going to show you a quick video that highlights what registering for courses looks like there in WebAdvisor.
I just wanted to check on our sound. I don't hear sound, but I'm just curious if other folks do.
I was hearing it, but if Sadia, were
I'm
you able
not
to hear?
hearing it on my end either there.
No, I
Okay.
wasn't hearing it either.
All right. Let me stop there for a second and see if I can fix it.
Technical difficulties, please wait. I'm just going to scroll through the chat to see if there's any questions that Jess and I can answer in the meantime. Some questions about transfer credits. How do I find out if my credits have been accepted? So if you have transfer credits, you would probably be seeing those in your student planner within WebAdvisor. They would be loaded there. Admissions also would have sent you an email outlining what they were with your offer. Some other folks are saying they don't have the option to schedule their courses or register. That's just because our registration windows haven't opened yet. So as of today, you can go in WebAdvisor and start planning your courses. It's kind of like online shopping. You can go in and you can like put it in your shopping cart. You just can't check out until your registration window opens. So you can go in there and start seeing all the sections and selecting them and planning them, but not fully registering for them yet.
Okay, we should be good now. Fingers crossed.
Welcome to the Student Planning Informational Series for the University of Guelph, Ridgetown Campus, and University of Guelph-Humber. Student Planning is a self-serve system available to all U of G, Ridgetown, and Guelph-Humber students who are actively enrolled in a program. It combines optional degree planning with intuitive course search tools and registration in a new, easy-to-navigate online environment. To assist both new and returning students, a series of training videos has been developed to help guide you through the most common features of student planning. In this video, we will cover how to register for courses using student planning. For information about when you can register for courses, visit your campus's course selection webpage.
To get started, go to WebAdvisor and click on the Access WebAdvisor button. Enter your central login username and password if you are not yet signed in. Expand the menu on the left-hand side and select Academics. Under Student Planning, click on Plan, Schedule, Register, and Drop.
This brings you to the Plan and Schedule page. By default, this will load the current plan and course registration of the current semester. To view and register for another term, please use the navigation arrows to navigate to the desired term. For this example, we wish to register for courses for the upcoming fall 2021 semester. To register for a course or section must have already been added to the term plan. If this has not already been done, you can use the convenient search option towards the top right. Please refer to the video Finding Courses. Once the course or section has been added to your term plan, you can register for the course. There are two ways to do this. 1. Register by an individual course at a time, or 2. Register for all courses at once. First, we will look at how to register for a single course. To do this, you must find the individual course section that fits your schedule. All course sections of a planned course will show as yellow in the timetable. This includes their lecture, lab, and seminar times. In the panel on the left, you can view details about the available sections, such as the number of seats available, times, location, instructor, etc., by clicking and expanding the View Other Sections on the course of interest. Note that hovering over a specific section will make that section bold in the timetable on the right. The timetable is useful for determining whether multiple courses are scheduled for the same time. If the lecture, lab, or seminar of a course section overlaps with another, both courses will show as red in the timetable. You will also receive a warning message if you try to register for overlapping courses. If you are a Guelph campus student and you are making changes to your registration after the final exam schedule has been posted on WebAdvisor, you also need to make sure there is not a direct final exam conflict. The final exam schedule is usually posted about a month before the semester begins. Final exams will show on the timetable in blue. Please keep in mind that the timetable represents a single week and your final exams may be spread over multiple weeks. You may see overlap of exams that are actually taking place on separate weeks. To ensure that there is not a final exam conflict, click on the print button above the timetable for full exam details for your registered courses. To add a desired section to your timetable, click on the section. This will open the section details, and you may add the section by clicking the Add Section button towards the bottom right. The timetable to the right will be updated, and the status of adding the section will be displayed from the notifications. If there are any errors or issues with adding the course section, it will be displayed here. Now that the desired section has been added to your term plan, you can register for the course. To do so, click on the Register button for the course section. Again, the timetable to the right will be updated, and a status message will be displayed in the notifications. You have registered for a course. The lecture for the registered course will now show in green, and if the course has a lab or seminar, it will show in purple. A distance education course without scheduled lectures, labs, or seminars will be noted below the timetable in green. You may prefer to plan and add all your sections at once before registering. This is recommended as it reduces time to add and remove registered courses that may cause a conflict. In such scenarios, you may find it useful to register for all your courses at once. You can register for all courses currently added to your term plan by clicking on the Register Now button towards the top right. You have now registered for all your term courses. Note that if any courses have an issue, for example, missing prerequisites or course conflicts, etc., an error message will be provided. You will still be registered in the remaining error-free courses. If you would like to remove a planned course from your schedule, click the X beside the course name in the left panel, and then click the Remove button in the pop-up window to confirm. We hope that you are now familiar with how to register for courses using student planning. Watch our other student planning videos for more information about degree planning and course enrollment at the University of Guelph, Ridgetown campus, and University of Guelph-Humber. If you have any questions, visit your campus's student planning website. For Guelph and Ridgetown campuses, please visit uoguelph.ca/student planning. And for the Guelph-Humber campus, please visit guelphumber.ca/student planning.
So here you'll see what a timetable will look like once you register for your courses. Some things to note, the sample schedule, the student registered in Psych 1000, but it was a distance education class, so no time is shown in the timetable. Sometimes we get questions from students of it seeming like they weren't registered in the course because it's not reflected there. But with the distance education courses, if there's not an assigned lecture time, it won't show up in your timetable. The purple are labs or seminars, and the green are lectures. The blue are the scheduled exam time during the final exam period for those courses. There's no actual conflict. Classes will have ended before the exams start. Classes run for 12 weeks in fall and winter with a short break between the two semesters over the holiday closure. Two things that I noted in the chat when I was watching the video there. Some students are asking about, there isn't currently any sections in WebAdvisor. How do I create a schedule? There will be sections loaded for each of the courses. We're running these sessions ahead of course selection, so not everything's been uploaded yet, but you will see the courses and available sections much before you register on July 10th for you to create those conflict-free schedules. I also wanted to highlight that WebAdvisor, when you go on to pick your courses at 1 p.m., there's an influx of students trying to register for courses at the same time. We use a system called Crowd Handler, which makes sure that we can get everyone into the website to register for courses. It'll show you that your X amount of spaces behind in the wait list. It goes really fast. You'll get into the website. It just requires some patience. It's just the server trying to accommodate the influx of students all at the same time before the window opens.
Awesome. Thanks, Jess, for showing that timetable. I think it's a good visual for folks to see what's coming up next. If we could
Sorry,
just go to
can
the next slide.
Just
Oh, sure,
jump
go
in
ahead.
quickly. We have a couple of questions in the chat about
Yeah.
transferable IB credits and when they will show up. And
Okay.
then also some questions about if you would plan to switch your major in second year, does that impact your course selection?
Okay. So with the IB credits, those are managed through admissions. I would imagine they'll be loaded very soon before your course selection. If you have any questions, you should follow up about with admissions. So that would just be admission@uoguelph.ca. If you're switching your major, one of the nice things about Bachelor of Science is that most of our courses are the same in first year. You'll notice there's a few differences with some of the biology and the physics, but there's also some substitutions we can do as well. So if you are thinking of switching your major in second year or in the future, we'd be happy to connect with you about that. So I would say book an appointment or send an email to us just so we can guide you on your specific scenario of what major you're coming from, where you're going to. We can look at those questions, but typically it's a pretty easy switch. There are 3 majors that only accept applications once per year. So that's our biomedical science, our human kinetics, and our animal biology. And there are some specific requirements for those ones. The other majors, out of the 22 majors, you can just fill out a form on our website and switch. It takes a few weeks to kind of just process, but we would then work with you for your individual scenario to see what courses you've taken and what courses are in that specific major and kind of get you back on track that way. So those are definitely good things to come to academic advising for. Anything you'd add with that, Jess? Okay, awesome. If we could jump to our next slide. Okay, course selection for transfer students. So this might not be applicable to all of you, but just to give you some brief overview. If you are coming in with any transfer credits, any of those IB credits, or if you were a student that studied at a different university or college before coming to Guelph and you've been granted transfer credits, we would love to set up a meeting with you so that we can go through all of your credits, make sure you know exactly what you were granted transfer credit for and what that means for your course selection. Emailing BSC Web, so that's our front desk email, is the easiest way to do that. And we'll set up either a virtual or in-person meeting at your convenience. So we can kind of map out what you should be taking in fall and winter, and then what your estimated timeline will be with us. So if you're coming in with 5 credits, that's approximately 1 year of study. And so you might be able to finish your degree in 3 years, and we could help map that out. Finding your registration date, all the registration windows will open based on credits. So if you're coming in with just a half credit from an IB course, you're probably going to register with most of our second years who have 0.25 credits or higher. The next window is significantly higher. So I'm guessing it'll probably be 5.25 or higher would be kind of our third year cohort. So just making sure you're checking that window to see where you fit, and you're able to see your credits in WebAdvisor in Student Planner. And then a step-by-step guide for the transfer students is also on the Start U of G website. Next slide, please. Transfer credits for high school courses. So yes, you may be eligible for a transfer if you had some IB courses with a final grade of 5 or better. AP exams with a minimum final grade of 4. Advanced levels, if you're doing those A-level British subjects with a final grade of C or better, or CAPE Unit 2 subjects with a grade of 1, 2, or 3. Transfer credit will be considered once they receive your official scores. There's also a QR code there. If that does apply to you, you can see the potential transfer credit list there. And then I think I'm going to pass over to Jess to go over international. Perfect.
Yeah. So just some key information here if you're an international student. Registering as a part-time student, so again, less than 1.5 credits per semester, taking an unauthorized leave from your studies, or completing more than 50% of your program online could affect your student status in Canada, on and off campus work eligibility, or your post-graduation work permit. So it's really important, if any of that applies to you, you contact the GPS advisor, the pre-arrival advisors here, or book a one-on-one appointment with them using that QR code, just to make sure you're doing all the right things so that it doesn't impact you in those ways. If you encounter any changes to your immigration status or course load during your studies, you'll connect with one of our international student advisors before making any major decisions. Again, we hope that our office can be a one-stop shop for that. So even if you're not sure who to go to, you can come to us and we'll direct you to the right place. Okay, some important dates and deadlines upcoming. June 15th was the undergraduation registration deposit and the international undergraduate deposit. That deposit was due. July 10th at 1 p.m. is the course selection window for any BSc student with 0 credits complete. In late July is when you'll receive your semester bill. That's posted there on WebAdvisor. And then September 18th is the final semester payment deadline for students. And I think now we're heading into our Q&As.
Before we jump into that, we do have a lot of questions around the grade 12 science, specifically as it relates to Chem 1050 and the other Chem courses.
Okay,
I see
so
that.
for the
So they-
chemistry. Oh yeah, Jess, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, yeah, Brenly, it looks like I'm reading the chat here that if they have grade 12 chemistry, can they still take Chem 1060? They're feeling uncertain about going right into Chem 1040 is what the question there reads.
No, if you took chemistry in grade 12, you should be going right into Chem 1040 and 1050 and doing those ones. It's just if you don't have the credit for the grade 12 one, then you'll do Chem 1060 first, then in the winter do 1040, and then the fall of your second year is when you'll do Chem 1050 typically. Yeah.
There was also some questions around co-op, specifically if there are any special course requirements to apply for co-op for second year if you didn't get a co-op admission.
Right. So some majors have a co-op as an option and some majors don't. The best thing to do is to check the co-op website to see all of their dates and deadlines. There's different deadlines for co-op majors depending on when your first co-op term would be. So if the first co-op term typically happens, say, fall of second year, then usually those deadlines are early in the fall semester of first year because it's kind of a year in advance. If the first co-op doesn't happen until like winter of second year, summer of after second year, then sometimes those deadlines can be in the winter. So best thing is to check the co-op website to see which one you're interested in and follow all of the guidelines in there.
I saw a question here in the chat about do I have to take the required courses in first year in the semester as indicated in the schedule of studies? You should try to follow the schedule of studies as closely as possible. For a lot of the classes, the prereq will come in the fall, like Chem 1040, the prereq for Chem 1050, the Phys 1300 will come before 1080 or the 1080 before the 1070. For those classes where there isn't a direct prereq, you should still try and take it in the semester as indicated. Some courses will be restricted to you if you try to take them outside of the semester as per the schedule of studies. So for example, if you're required based on the schedule of studies to take biology 1090 in the winter and you are trying to take it in the fall, it could be restricted to you. So the students that require it in the fall based on their schedule of studies can take it in the correct semester. So it's always best to follow the schedule of studies. It doesn't mean you can't move them around, but you might not be able to do it on the first go, and you could risk not registering for the course if you're not following as it's indicated.
Yeah. I see a bunch of questions about whether this is recorded. So yes, I believe it will be recorded and posted online shortly after, so you can go back and watch it. And I don't know, Sadia, if you're able to post the link to that course registration video too. I saw someone ask for that, so we can definitely do that. Is the required 2.0 of electives supposed to be spread out through the entire program length? So your free electives or your liberal education electives, the number might be different depending on your major. So for some of them it's 2.0, for some it might be a little bit more or less. They are listed in the schedule of studies. So typically it'll say 0.5 liberal education. Usually you do those ones in first year, although if you end up taking a science elective in first year, it just means later you would do a liberal education one instead of a science one. Again, it depends on your major and how many extra remaining science electives you have, or how many liberal education electives, or how many free electives. So those are things that we can help you with as you kind of progress through your degree. most students are taking liberal education electives in their first year. And so if you are scheduled for an elective, usually you're picking a liberal education one. Those are the ones that are going to give you breadth in your knowledge. And so they're supposed to be outside of your traditional area of study. So if you're studying biomedical science, they might be different than that. Sometimes students want to take more of the same courses that they love and kind of are used to with their subject area. But this is your chance to take something totally different and kind of spread your knowledge a little bit more.
I saw a question about how do you add a minor. First year in BSc is pretty prescribed. So students that decide they want to add a minor will typically do that heading into second year. You fill out a form in our office. Usually students will come chat with us about how a minor fits in with their required courses, but you just fill out a form online and declare that minor, and then you use that elective space to complete the minor requirements. And there's some nuance there, which is why it's helpful if you come connect with an advisor to help you plan a minor if you decide to pursue one.
Some other folks are just saying, where do I find my required courses? The new student guide is the best place to go as your starting point. We'll also put in the chat a link just to our majors and minors page, which gives you quick links to the schedule of studies for each major. So you can kind of save those for moving forward, because in your future years, you might not be in the new registration guide, but you can use our majors and minors page, and we've linked them all there as well. All of your semesters are lined out with your required courses. So it'll show you for the fall, these are maybe the 3 or 4 required courses, and then these are the 1 or 2 spots where you have an elective and you get to pick. Sometimes majors have restricted electives, and so it's an elective, meaning you get to pick, but it's restricted to a specific list, versus a free elective might have hundreds or thousands of courses to choose from. A restricted elective is specific to your major, so you're going to pick from a list, and all of those are in the academic calendar in what we call the schedule of studies. So you'll be using that as you move forward. But typically in first year, you're just going to be picking a liberal education one. And we'll also leave that link for some popular electives that Bachelor of Science students have chosen in the past.
There seemed to be a fair amount of confusion around the physics. Having not taken physics in grade 12, what would be the order? I think if you could just clarify that, that would be great for some students.
Yeah. Okay. So most students are going to take 2 physics courses, one in the fall and one in the winter. We have 3 physics courses in first year. The numbers are not sequential, they're opposite. So it kind of starts with 1300, 1080 is in the middle, and 1070 is on the other side. So if you think of it like 3 in the middle, you have to take 2 of them. Everyone's going to take 1080, just depends if that's your first or second course. So if you did not take physics in grade 12, you're going to register for physics 1300 in the fall, and then 1080 in the winter. So kind of those first 2. If you did take it in grade 12, you're going to start with 1080, and then you're going to do 1070 in the winter. This is also outlined in the new student guide. It's outlined in the revised schedule of studies that'll be there available through all those links as well. Some majors have different physics courses. They would be outlined for your majors, but most of the biological science ones are in the 1070, 1080. And if you're following the revised schedule of studies, you'll be in the 1300. You can always email us as well if you're not sure about your situation. Okay. And we went over the dates and deadlines. Do we want to jump into some of those FAQ slides, and then we'll see if any other questions come in the chat?
Okay. So how many courses should you take in each semester? That depends if you're a part-time student or full-time student. Most degree programs require 20 credits to graduate, broken down over the 4 academic years. That would be 5 courses or 2.5 credits a semester. That's typically what most students would take. Part-time students taking less than 1.5 would take 1 or 2 courses in each semester. It really depends on how you plan to progress through your degree, but the 2.5 in fall, 2.5 credits in winter is what is standard.
Okay, I think our next FAQ, how do I know what electives to take? We've touched on this briefly. If you can flip to the next slide, I did put a screenshot of what our electives website looks like for Bachelor of Science. There's also a little QR code there. So if you didn't have a chance to grab the link in the chat, there's also the QR code as well. And that takes you to the Bachelor of Science approved electives page. So when you're finding a course in WebAdvisor and you're wondering, does this count as an elective? Is this liberal education? Is this science? What does it count as? this website will tell you all of that. So you'll scroll down and you'll say, I found a history course. It's an HIST course code. I wonder what that counts as. Based on the topic, it probably is not science, but to double check, you can go on this website and scroll down. The first half is all science courses, and then the second half is all liberal education. So it'll clearly outline, yes, every history course is liberal education, or it might say something like all except for history 3000. That's just a made up example, but it'll clearly outline which ones will count as liberal education and which ones will count as science. And again, if you have any questions, you can email us for any clarification on that. I'm just reading the chat. I see a few other questions here. I'm currently in biological science programs. That's one of our largest majors within Bachelor of Science. And I want to switch into biomedical science in second year. So that's one of the majors where they only take acceptances once per year. They would look at it after the winter semester. Do I need to plan my courses differently at all? No, they're the same courses between biomedical science and biological science. So you'd be on track. You're just focusing on doing well and getting your GPA up so you can meet the admission requirements. When planning your courses, are you able to drag and drop in the calendar? Typically, you're going to use that sidebar to type in the course. So you're going to type in Phys 1300 and it's going to pop up and see them all. You can then say add section to plan. You can choose the section right there, or you can just add the course. And then when you go back into your plan schedule register page, you can again see all the different options, scroll through like it showed in the video. It'll kind of highlight the section you're on so you can visually see how your timetable is coming together and then select the one that you want. Again, right now you're just planning, so you can do all of that now if the courses are loaded for the course you're looking for. And then on the day you register, everything will be there and you'll be able to hopefully click register and get into all the sections. I'm a BTalk student. Is there any way to see the time? Yes, you'll see the times. If they're not there right now, then they definitely will be soon. I think they're loading them today, so some of them might just be slow to be in the system. Okay, if I've completed transferable IB credit, do I need to transfer the credit in order to submit course selection? So you're able to register regardless whether you have the IB or not, but if you have an IB credit, then you probably could register early. And you can talk to admissions if you have any questions about that specific credit or if it's not loaded or anything.
I'm highlighting it in the chat here, but I see some questions about if you didn't take grade 12 physics. Just to confirm what Brenly said, you wouldn't then go back and do the Phys 1070. So if you take the Phys 1300 and the Phys 1080, you don't take Phys 1070. You just need those two physics credits, or sorry, two physics courses, 1 credit. If you didn't take grade 12 chemistry and you took Chem 1060, you would need to do Chem 1040 and Chem 1050. So I'll write that in the chat there so people can refer back to it, but just to clarify.
Yeah, good question there. And all of this is also in the revised schedule of studies, so it'll outline all of those options.
There have been a couple questions about the liberal arts electives around when students need to take them and how do they know which one would best fit with their degree.
So electives are designed, again, to give you breadth in your knowledge, to be something different. So whatever one fits best with your degree is whatever one you really want to learn from. Like, what do you not know yet? What are your goals long term of when you graduate, you'll be able to speak about, these are the things I learned in university, not just my major, but here's these other things. So, I mean, if you've always wanted to learn Italian, take an intro Italian course. If you're interested in linguistics, take a linguistics course. If you like geography, but you're studying biomedical science, take a geography course. There's lots of different courses, and typically they're going to have different course codes than the ones you're usually taking, like the bio course codes, things like that. So the best thing to do is look through WebAdvisor, click through all those topics, the subject areas to see the different options. In first year, usually you're looking for 1000 level course codes. So that first number indicates the level. If it starts with a 4, it's probably a 4th year course that you'll take towards the end of your degree. If it starts with a 1, it's a first year course. It probably has no prerequisites or minimal prerequisites. Sometimes courses can have prerequisites that are courses, and other times they're credits. So it could say, take Psych 1000 or introductory psych course before you take social psychology. Other times it'll say, you need 5 credits before you attempt this course. There's no actual course topic you have to have completed, but you maybe need 5 credits. that's the university's way of saying you really should wait until second year to do this. So wait till you've got some credits under your belt, understand kind of the rhythm of university life and courses before you dive into something like that. WebAdvisor won't let you go over those restrictions. So if you try to register and you haven't met the restrictions, then it won't let you register. So look for the ones that just don't have restrictions. Most of the ones in that link we've included for first year students have no restrictions on them. So they're good ones for first year. Are there other FAQs that we had in this slide that we want to bring up? Okay.
So one of the required course says it's full. First, triple check that you've looked through every section available for that course to ensure it is full. If it is full, you'll add yourself to the wait list for one of the sections. You'll pick the section that has the least number of students on the wait list that works with your schedule. And then when space becomes available, if space becomes available, you'll get an email from the university saying you're now able to register in the class. You typically only have 24 hours from that email to register yourself in the class. So make sure you're monitoring your U of G email through the summer if you've added yourself to any waitlist, and just for really important information before you join us in the fall. Most first year courses, there is space for everyone. So you just scroll through all the sections, add yourself to a waitlist if needed for a conflict-free section.
Mm-hmm.
I also saw here in the chat, do we register for both fall and winter at the same times? That's different for every institution, but here at Guelph, you will register for your fall and winter courses at the same time on July 10th at 1 p.m.
Good question. We register for summer separately. So I saw someone said, is taking summer classes an option and when would they start? So it's not an option for summer 2026, but if next summer after your first year is done, you want to take a course either to get ahead, or if you happen to drop a course next year, you could do courses in the summer. Mostly they're 12-week courses that would start in May. So May, June, July, a bit of August. And we would register for those in March. So we're right now in July, you're going to register for fall and winter. And then if you wanted to do courses next summer, that would be a March 2027 thing to do. Why is a course restricted? Just our FAQ here. It could be restricted for many reasons. It could just be that it's temporarily restricted to a certain major. So sometimes there are courses that students in one major, they have to take it to graduate. It's not an option. And so at first the university will make sure that it's sort of protected so they can get that course, and then they'll lift restrictions, and then you could maybe register. Most of those liberal education ones though that are listed on that first year link, those ones are unlikely to be restricted, although they could be. So you have to just kind of check. And it again can be different for fall. It could be different for winter. So just kind of check back. And if something is restricted, you can register for a different one, kind of pick like your second choice, and then keep an eye on the restrictions. The website for restrictions will also outline the date that they will lift. And so you'll know when it's lifted, and then you can just log back in and then either register at that point or add yourself to the waitlist if the course is filled up at that point. So you can't add yourself to a waitlist until you're included in the restriction of a course.
I'm seeing some questions about how do I know if I've picked an online course? If a course is distance education, in the title it will say, for example, Psych 1000 DE01. So the DE connotates that that's a distance education course. If it's an in-person course, it would just say Psych 1000 Section 01. So the DE in the section code indicates an online course. Online courses can still have assigned lecture times. So just make sure when you're registering, you can see whether it's asynchronous, meaning there's no specific scheduled lecture times, or if it's online with a structured lecture.
Mm-hmm.
So there is one question I do want to highlight. A student asked, what happens if they have a conflict on July 10th at 1 p.m.?
Register as soon as you can, or see if you can move your conflict. Like Jess mentioned before, courses are open, registration is open all the way till September. Usually it's about a week after classes have even started. So you still have some time to be moving around. There's a lot of movement over the summer. So sometimes folks will think, oh, a course was full at 1 p.m. or at 8 a.m. when I registered. A lot of things can happen between now and September. We're several months out. So even if by the time you register, you're on a few wait lists, again, double check all the sections to see which ones are open. If every section is actually full, then put yourself on a wait list. But usually it's better to pick one of the ones that's open, that's not going to be, that will give you a conflict-free schedule. Yeah.
And then we've had a couple people ask, what is the best way to connect with an academic advisor?
Yeah, so just bscweb@uoguelph.ca is our email address. You'll be connected to our advising assistant, Brianna, at the front, and then she'll either be able to answer your question or she'll direct you to an academic advisor. And she also can book appointments. So we can meet virtually or in person if you happen to live in Guelph or are nearby. But we're happy to do Teams meetings over the summer as well if needed.
Okay, and Sadia will put that email in the pinned messages at the top. That's where you can find a lot of the different pieces that we've chatted about today.
Okay, awesome.
I'm
The main thing
seeing
is
some
to oh, go ahead, Jess. Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm seeing some comments of what happens if the class is on the academic calendar for a major are full. I completely understand that worry of what if the classes I need fill up really quickly. The university does a lot of planning to make sure there's enough space for all students that require it. So try to go into course selection, having a couple of options available for sections that work. But we do plan to have space for all students. If you register on time, that shouldn't be a problem. If you do find yourself unable to register for required classes, you can always reach out to our office for support. But just for peace of mind for those on the call, I know it seems hectic, but it is really structured so that students get into the classes they need in the semesters they require them.
So as we mentioned earlier, the session has been recorded. We will be uploading it to the Start U of G website, which you can see on the screen at the moment. If you have questions that you haven't been able to get answered, you can also email us at start@uoguelph.ca and we'll be able to support you. I just want to thank everyone for coming so much. I know this is, sometimes can be a bit nerve-wracking, but you've got this. We're here to support you. If you need any help, just reach out. And again, thank you all for coming. Thank you to Jess and Brenly for such amazing information. And we're really excited to see you all in September.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Ian. Thanks.
So I'm just going to end our event now. But again, if you have any questions, email start@uoguelph.ca.